Live for some reason. Oh, it went live now. Hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pullboxpals, a podcast about palling around with the most palatable pals on the interweb. I was going to try to think of something with pals for internet, but I couldn't. My name's Monk, and with me, as always, is my sidekick, the Chuckler.
AKA Mad Nerdy. You can call me Mad though, or you can call me Mark. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter as long as you don't call me late for supper none now, right? I'm not making fun of anybody. That's just how we speak here in these hills of the old Appalachia.
I can't wait to come visit and hang out and just hear y'all talk that way.
Yeah, all of us just walking around town talking like that. We haven't done a drink checkup in a while. I just heard you crack it open. What are you drinking?
So this actually got today from my brother. This is my birthday was a couple Sundays ago now.
Happy belated Sunday.
Oh, thanks, buddy. But a friend of mine got me something from this brewery, an IPA of theirs. This is Ferment Brewing. My brother got me another one, and I actually do like this one because we sometimes have it on tap at Common Fields Tap House that I work at.
Plug.
It's called I Love Nelson IPA from Ferment Brewing.
Wow.
But yeah, so this is my
just rolls right off the tongue.
Totally. But yeah, this is part of my birthday gift for my brother. So had a long week.
Wow. You had a birthday. You had a year. What else made it long?
Well, my wife and I are just adjusting to a new schedule. And so last week was very foggy and like certain days didn't feel like the days that they were. And all week we were talking about we got to go to my parents' house for like me and my mom and my sister-in-law's birthday celebration because we do that like every quarter. We just put the 3 months. Yeah, we put the 3-month birthdays into one.
Wow,
and then we go to my parents' house and like celebrate all the birthdays that happen in that quarter. And talked about it all week, right? And so Sunday rolls around and Sunday doesn't feel like a Sunday at all. And and my wife and I go out to eat and we sit down, and right as we make our order, I get a text from my mom saying, "Are you coming?"
Oh no.
Yeah. So anyways, we didn't make it. Because it's about an hour drive away, and there was no reckoning that. So
man, you hate to see it.
Yeah. So we missed out, but my parents drove down today, dropped off my gift for my brother. My mom's getting her gift from us and sister-in-law too, but they'll be a little late, but yeah.
Wow. I'm having the same feeling I think I had last year around this time where I was like, I probably should have bought you something. We live in the days where I can just like send something through Amazon to your house.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm a bad friend. I'm very selfish.
Same here. Yeah.
I mean, my birthday was only a couple months ago too. I ain't get diddly squat from Mr. Matt over there, but it's okay.
All right, buddy. We
have a friendship of not respecting each other, and I think that's how it works.
We respect our disrespect to each other. Yes.
Well, yeah. I hope you, in the midst of all of that, I hope you felt celebrated and loved because you're a good dad. So,
thanks, buddy.
Happy birthday.
I had a great birthday week, so it was
good. Yeah. I'd be begrudging to say that when you said that the week was foggy for you, I should have said, well, yeah, it was 420. But yeah, just again, shout out to our buddies Ben and Eric for coming on, having a good chat with us last week. That was a lot of fun. But I've said this before, and this is so the last two times that we saw each other, we were with other people. And I was thinking about, this morning on the drive to work about us getting to chat. And the song from SpongeBob came into my head where SpongeBob was working at the chum bucket and Mr. Krabs,
the Krabby Patty place.
No,
Mr.
he's
Krabs.
working across Mr. Krabs. For some reason, he's at the chum bucket and he sings this song. And I just imagine the two of them like reaching out across like the restaurant road to each other. And that's what I thought about, because I'm like, I'm excited to chat with Mad about what's going on in Mad's little comic book world. But if you look in the bio to this show, we have 1,000 comic books listed. So we should probably stop chit chatting and let's get
into it, baby.
Yeah. Were you able to make it to your shop this week?
I did. I made it there this week, and I did splurge a little bit this week, but I'm still rolling on some of that birthday dough. So it gave me a little extra to work with.
When I was a kid, I remember my mom spending her birthday money on like bills and stuff, and I made a vow. I'm like, never will I do that. But I do it a little bit. You just have to. But I also do like still treat myself. I'm like, I'm gonna get myself a nice little comic book.
Yeah. No, most people don't know what to get me these days. My wife knows how to surprise me, and you can get me a t-shirt and whatnot. But for the most part, when people ask, they're just like, they want to buy me a comic or something, but don't know what to do. So they just give me money to go to the comic shop.
They're like, here's Spider-Man.
It's a good one.
I heard the kids like Spider-Man.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's see how much overlap we got. I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, starting off, I'm going in alphabetical order here. So I got Blue Book number 3.
Okay, definitely.
I really like this cover.
Wow.
I don't know if it's like, I didn't really look at what. Oh, we got the same one. Nice.
We did. And I feel like a fool because I looked at yours and I'm like, that's really cool. And then I looked at mine. I'm like, I got the same one.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah, I don't know if it's a variant or if it's like the main cover. Because I think the first week my shop gave me a variant. It doesn't matter. Next up, I picked this up because it was on the key list. It's called Deep Cuts by Image.
Ah, yes. I saw that you pulled this. I definitely had this in my hands. Yeah.
It's the thick boy. It was $5.99.
Ooh. That's the same as a Batman comic.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them, depending on the variant.
I guess
that's like one of the things about the Batman series is like they release variants. So there is one Batman version or variant each week you could buy, or each month that you could buy, that is like the normal $3.99.
Mm-hmm.
But then the rest of them jump up to $4.99, and a few of them are like $5.99, and I think there's even $6.99 ones.
See, I didn't know that, and when I was buying the Chip Zdarsky run, yeah, I was like, I don't think I picked up on that. But anyways,
long gone are the days where like the variants are the same price in the realm of DC. So
that's sad.
And I got Door to Door Night by Night, issue number 5. So I believe this wraps up the first arc. But I've really been enjoying this series. The story's just really been really fun. It's like Stranger Things meets like, I don't know, I guess Pennsylvania, as you described it in the way you guys talked.
It's funny. See, you don't have to make fun of the South or anything. I represent that weird rural America. I love it.
I got Local Man number 3.
So did I. And I'm pretty sure we got the same cover.
Yeah, this is the main cover. I got my Getting Ready for Scouts Comics Sunday with Red Winter Fallout number 4.
I did not get any Scout comics this week. I've got like every other publisher under the sun, but yeah, not good old Scout, and I'm bummed about it. But that kind of gives me an excuse. I've been wanting to. I never got into the Gut Ghost trade, which is up on my wall. I just assumed that I would love it, so I just threw it up there, and I also just love the art. You know.
Yeah.
Speaking of
you're allowed to do that.
I know. Speaking of my wall, I made a little reel about it. We'll throw up on our TikTok eventually. But yeah, it just kind of shows off the wall and a little bit closer look. But yeah.
That was lovely. I loved seeing a close up of your collection. of your
well,
wall.
yeah.
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 So
Well, thank you.
yeah. And then I got Star Wars High Republic Adventures, The Nameless Terror. This actually came out last week, and my shop had misplaced my copy, but they got it in my box this week. There's another Star Wars that I was supposed to get today too. That was a number 1, and I think a one shot as well. That the copy they got in for me was damaged. So I asked for a new one. And then I got Last Ronin, The Lost Years. I know Ray has feelings about this, and Kyle, and I think Ross even. Had Ross read it? You were the only one who had.
You're just listing off people that you know. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's just like Michelangelo's storyline's really cool, but they keep throwing in these like future turtles with weird names. I think one of them is named Odin.
Yeah, that's a normal name.
But they're these new baby turtles that April and Casey's daughter is now the sensei of, and it's just really weird, and I don't know how I feel about it. And so holding this issue of the latest Last of the Ronin, it just gives me some like, am I gonna like this? The covers are cool though.
The cover was pretty cool. I wanted to point that out, that I liked that.
And the one that I'm probably most excited about that came out today was Vanish number 6.
Yeah, I saw that up on the shelf.
Yeah, I really, really liked issue 5. It kind of takes like a Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight take on like, was anything from the first arc real? Like that. That's kind of the question that we were left with at the end of issue 5, and so I'm excited to read issue 6. And then we got What's the Furthest Place from Here, number 12. This series just keeps on going, you know? Like,
is this the end of this arc?
I have no idea, man. I really don't.
Man. Because I really want to get back into it, because I was waiting for this arc to end to jump back in, but now I feel like I should just jump back in because I want to, you know?
Yeah. And then the last thing I got, I just picked this up because it's a Marvel number 1 and it was on that key list, but Sins of Sinister Dominion.
Ooh.
So I will give it a read, but probably won't like stay on board with it. And then whenever I get back on Unlimited next, if I really like it, I'll catch up.
There you go. I felt proud of myself because there was a lot of comics this week that were like issue number 2. Like Indigo Children's number 2 came out this week, and then I think there was another one, but I can't remember it. But I was like, no, I'm going to reserve my, I can't just buy every comic that I want to read. But so I bought 10 comics, I believe. I think that's what I counted. And only one of them was an issue number 1, which means I have at least 9 ongoing series that I'm reading, or not ongoing, but mini series. There's at least 9 things that I'm currently reading, not including the things that we're going to be talking about later, which some of them are like issue numbers 3 and stuff. And I was saying to my girlfriend, I'm like, if you would ask me like how many comics am I like currently reading, I would have said like conservatively like 8, Yeah. I don't think I would have realized that it was into like the double digits,
It's hard to really say.
But I guess that's true, because
8's a good guess.
Yeah, but again, like pretty much everything that I'm going to be listing that I got, I think is something that I'm like, I don't think that there's anything in here that I'm not like, I want to kind of see this to completion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. I feel like I'm looking at my pile and I see like some things that should be in a different pile. So we're gonna work this all out together live here on the internet. So I'm surprised you didn't pick this up, but Neighbors number 2.
The
Neighbors, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to order that one because I forgot to tell my shop I wanted it because it was an issue 1 that they had just happened to get in, and I didn't even think about like checking for it.
Right. Well, here's another one that I was surprised that you didn't get. The Ambassadors number 3, which
I didn't get number 2.
Oh yeah, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess I'll be talking about this all about my. Oh yeah, I knew that we only talked about had a few. I'll just say a little sneak preview that I enjoyed it. Kind of. Nothing
Yeah.
really happened. A little bit more stuff was explained, and the world was kind of built. I feel like this is gonna be something that's like, um, uh ongoing, and by ongoing there was a comment on the latest episode of the comic book lair about how I define ongoing, and I do kind of, when I think of ongoing, is something that I would love to see like saga length, but
Yeah.
it's very hard to get something like that independent, and I just don't tend to gravitate towards those other things, and like even it would have to be something that like really hooked me, and
I
so I'm kind of
I
hoping that the ambassadors is that.
yeah, I've kind of thought about this a little bit, and I know like series have done this, but for the most part, it's like I'm thinking of Jupiter's Legacy right now. Like Jupiter's Legacy was 5 issues, and then different versions of Jupiter's Legacy like came out, but it wasn't necessarily like sequential. It was just like it was
Mm,
an offshoot of some sort. Maybe it was like part two, like kind of how they had like Secret Wars and then Secret Wars part two.
right.
Like so and I think like a happy medium is like what if you knew you were getting something like 60 issues out of a series,
Mm,
and but like the first 5 issues were just like absolute bangers, and like it just made you on board.
yeah.
And
I think I
like
would be down. The
yeah,
problem is the thing that I don't like about the I feel like it's ongoing in like the Marvel and the DC sense is because they have to make it stretch out to a certain point. We've talked about this so much, but
yeah,
as if you can make every page or everything like an enjoyable, it actually like contributes to the story and it's not just like spreading it out. I think
mhm,
I think that then that's fine. I don't the thing that turned me off from all those things. I mean, that was the reason that I took down like the Amazing Spider-Man off my thing because I'm like, why do I like this arc? This is the arc that
mhm.
kind of ruined Marvel for me. Of just like stretching this thing out for like so painfully long, and you have to buy spin-offs to read it, and it's so clearly just the cash cow. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
just want you to engulf me in a world. But I also,
mhm,
on the flip side of that, I find myself really, really happy with a lot of the one shots and like stuff from Silver Pocket Studios. Is that what it was that Everything Sucks from? I was on their website the other day and I was just looking at stuff and I was like, this looks so cool. I'm happy that we've started going in that direction.
yeah,
So I don't know. I would just to kind of bring this back to my pools, it would be great for like the ambassadors to be that for me because I do like
mhm.
Mark Millar, however you say it. He
It's Miller. It's
whatever, yeah.
I say Millar in my head.
Yeah. Um, he can be a bit much, but this hasn't been too ridiculous so far.
Mhm.
And I really enjoy the art.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess I
Well,
just did my review of the ambassadors. So there you go. I really don't have anything else more to say about
yeah,
it.
and like I didn't hate issue one. I This is just something I consciously chose to like. I'm just gonna wait for the trade to come out.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel about Indigo Children. If it is like one of those rare, really cheap image, the unicorn, um, cheap image. I know
Nine
that
ninety nine.
it doesn't exist. I would if people show me if you can send me a picture. No one did us what did we do 2 episodes ago? And I said
If
I would buy
anybody
a
get
comic. Uh
if you'd send somebody 3.99 if they could do the best impersonation of Stan Lee.
Yep, that was it. And nobody sent us anything. We need
Nobody.
to no, well, that's sad. So I guess I get my own 3.99 for my terrible impression. Hello, true believers. That wasn't
It wasn't
that
too.
was
It was
um
in there.
it was in there. What's in there is also Bulls of Beacon Hill #4. I'm happy that I stayed on this. This I thought was going to be the last issue of this arc, but it looks like it's going to be more, and I'm fine with it because I feel like there's actually, I do say that I love my 4 issue arcs, and I do, but again, I'm here for a story, and there seems to be more story in this than what 4 issues can tell, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I will ride that wave along with you, Steve Orlando and Andy McDonald. um, yeah, and then let's see what else we got. We got the Wasp #4. And I do believe that this actually is the last issue of this run. I don't want to peek because I don't want it to. Oh, it says Janet Van Dyne will return, but who knows what that means. So this could be the end. I'll let you know. But it's Ant-Man related. So I always say Ant-Man related, but I mean it's the Wasp as well. But but I feel like people would say that she has Ant-Man powers. Like we don't say that the Ant-Man has Wasp powers, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're just breaking down comics here live on the internet. And then last but certainly, I don't actually, you know what, it's not my last one. Last one of my reoccurring comics that I bought. But certainly not the least of the reoccurring comics that I bought. In fact, it's my favorite comic. Do you know what it is? That's right. It's Behold Behemoth.
Oh yeah.
Number 5. And yeah.
If they've announced the trade date for that yet.
I don't know. I'll buy it. Yeah. So I just looked at the end. It says end of book 1. So this is the finale. So I would imagine you'll probably get a recap of that from me next week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So the secret source says the trade comes out August 9th.
August 9th. That's too long for me to wait for you to get it for us to talk about it.
Well,
so I'm gonna chit chat.
That's fine. Maybe we'll revisit it when I read it.
Yeah, I won't probably do spoilers because that's
all right.
I don't think this book is going to have much to spoil. I feel like the enjoyment of the book has very much so been the experience of the book itself. And then the last comic that I bought is Here Comes Alico, and it was $2.99, and it's from Sigma Comics, which I don't think I've ever bought anything from. And
I've never heard of Sigma Comics.
I really enjoy the inside because it feels and looks like a 90s comic.
Oh,
wow. The paper is very old and kind of like newspapery.
Yeah.
Feels very newspapery. And even the art itself looks very newspapery. So for me, this felt like very reminiscent of old comics. And apparently it's about a superhero who is very like animal justice focused. So he goes out and I would imagine it has something to do with poachers and the like, you know.
That's interesting. It makes me want to look more into who Sigma is.
Yeah, I feel like you would like it. Also, I forgot to say that I picked up Gangstra's Barista #2 last week. I believe it was Eric said he was reading this. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, speaking of Eric has said hello.
Yeah, I saw that. I forgot to pull that up. Hey, fellas, thanks for having us last week. All times friends. They got new stickers. Check those out. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, those stickers are rad.
Those stickers are dope. Haha. I made that pun already. But yeah, this was I finished number well, you know what? I'm going to talk about this. Well, do I want to talk about this? You know what? I'm going to just say I read issue number 1. His request, I went back to it, and I really enjoyed it. And I actually read, I think, all of issue number 2 earlier. I can't remember. But yeah, I was reading it earlier. I did read all of it. Yeah. And it was very enjoyable. And it's a 3-issue arc, so I'm going to go back to it.
Oh, that's right. He said that.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
I need to.
It's definitely one that I feel like would be worth because it's only 3, and I don't think that it's like extraordinary priced. I guess I could look, but I'm not going to. You're gonna have to find out on your own.
I'll check it out. No problem.
Well,
well, that's all, folks.
Well, that's it. Good night. Oh boy. So, do you want to talk about chickens or teeth first?
So let's talk about chickens first.
Chickens first?
Let's talk about chickens.
All right, you take the lead because I'm parched.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So we're going to be talking about Chicken Devils number 3. For some reason, oh my gosh, you know what I think I did? Oh, I put in our story post. I put the cover for Chicken. No, I did Chicken Devils. Interesting.
Wow.
My notes say Chicken Devil number 3.
See, okay. That's funny that you say this because
but I copy and paste like the link and it like automatically does it. So it made me wonder, is the website messed up? Anyways, what were you gonna say?
When I was typing out the show notes for this, it's Chicken Devils is in the title and it's also in the description. And I wrote Chicken Devil, but then when I got to number 3, and I was just like, wait, there's already been a Chicken Devil #3. Should I put volume 2? And I'm like, wait, no, this isn't right. But yeah. So it's been a hot minute
It
between
has.
drinks.
It's been a very long time between issues for this, and I had texted you like early after it came out and was just like, man, I'm kind of like mad reading this because I don't remember how issue 2 like ended.
Same. Like
And
not
so
even a little bit.
and issue 3 just seemed to pick up in this like you're just in the muck already. And I couldn't remember like why we were already in the muck.
Yeah.
And it's been a little bit, but yeah, issue 2 came out January 18th. So we're a little over 3 months.
Yeah. That feels about right.
And
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, it honestly kind of ruined reading the issue for me.
Oh, you hate to hear it. Really?
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. It kind of that's where you're at. This is where I was at. I I went into it kind of every time I feel like I haven't gotten it with this arc yet, and I've just been waiting for it, the bombasticness, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the first arc was so like over the top, like
Mm-hmm.
fast paced, just kind of like a dude getting blown away through a door, like
Yeah.
just crazy stuff that's happening. And this one, it's kind of like the more melodrama around that with his family. But I don't hate it, but I
Yeah.
miss what it was, you know?
Yeah. No, like, and like the character you can most identify with, at least for me, is Mitch. Because
Yeah,
like he's who we followed through the first arc. And so it's like the pacing and the mood of this second arc is very much in his like, my family is super pissed off and I'm in a situation I don't know how to get out of because I'm a murderous vigilante working secretly with two crooked cops who are
right.
trying to keep this whole thing under the wrap. So I'm screwed either way. Like he's in between a rock and a hard place, as they say.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, that's kind of the whole mood of this arc for me. And I just don't like, I don't know how much I like it. And so I'm kind of like, and again, like I don't hate. I really still like have been enjoying it. I really enjoyed issue 1 and issue 2. I remember being excited about them, but issue 3 just very much plateaued for me. And I
Mm.
think it was mostly attributed to the time it took between issue 2 and issue three's release.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because it literally, like you're saying, it takes place like almost 10 minutes later. Um, so to to I think it was definitely hurt by that gap. But again, I feel like it just kind of it's swinging into this other thing because there's
Mhm.
literally a part in the middle of this where they go like it's villain killing montage time,
Yeah,
and it's done in like like a splash page kind of thing, and
yeah,
it's like, oh, you don't think that the reason that Chicken Devil was successful was in the first place was because people wanted to see like Mitch fumbling through all that stuff and like the rawness of those acts of violence.
yeah,
Um, and then to not have to just kind of be like the violence needs to take a seat to my wife being mad at me. And again, I didn't dislike it, but it was very much just a swing from and maybe like here's the thing, like they did change the name for the reason, so it was
yeah,
Chicken Devil, so it was just about him. So maybe it's now more about him trying to get out of the situation with the corrupt cops. But I guess I will say that it doesn't feel like it's doing anything in any directions very deeply. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
So
so I guess in a way it's feeling a little shallow.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. But again, I feel like it's coming across more negative than I would like to because I did genuinely enjoy it and it was nice to be back into that world. But it was, oh, there he goes. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not like what I had initially got into about it,
Yeah.
but I'm not opposed to it. I'm
No,
I'm
and
gonna
like
ride. I'm gonna ride
I'm
it out to the end.
yeah, so am I. Like I still really like it, but I guess this also goes back to like if you knew you're getting into a series that had like a finite amount of issues, but it was more than just like 10, 12, 15. But like you got something into like the upper digits of like 30 to 60 issues. Like it would actually kind of be fun to watch Mitch just continue to figure out this life for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because it is because you could do like every day, because this isn't it's pretty clear this isn't just like a month has gone by. Like you could shorten the time span between like the time of between issues. And like this one again, it did pick up right after issue 2. Mitch saw his daughter's boyfriend sneaking in, but because he's all paranoid of his situation, he shot the kid.
Yeah.
And that's where issue 3 picks up, is like, I shot a teenager.
and I don't think any of it is not like characteristically of that world or like incorrect of the characters. It's just, again, it's just that different aspect of it, but it's still like that wacky, like just crazy gritty world, you know?
Yeah. And the whole time it's just, you can tell Mitch is just like, man, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yeah, he definitely feels just the whole time, and this is like intentional and definitely feels good of just him. It feels very much as he's just like, just drive, like being drugged through life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Being drugged through the mud.
Yeah, there you go.
Behind a horse, riding out of town.
Not yet though. Keep that horse. Keep that horse.
No, it's circling back around. It forgot something.
Either keep it close to town or away from town, however we feel like ending this thing. But do you want to? So, I love a good fun, like swinging the like what an attempt at something new. And I don't sometimes when I talk about in the past, it's like a comic has like a set or it's like does like a story, but I don't know. This story for the next one that we're going to be talking about, I feel is just like a really cool concept. It feels like a very boom concept. And
yeah,
it's
very boomy.
It's very boomy. And so, and to the yeah, I will say just the name of it, The Seasons Have Teeth. This has been, I read it twice. How about you? How many times did you read good old The Seasons Have Teeth?
I probably read it at least twice. There's a couple of the pages that I just couldn't like stop looking at.
Yeah, the art is like pretty. It's like classic boom. You know, like it's like it feels like paint. You know, like somebody's like painting these pictures. You know, so that's a huge shout out to the artist and the colorist. Let's just say the team is written by Danny Waters or Waiters. Sorry about that. Illustrated by Sebastian Cabral. Colored by Dan Jackson and lettered by Nate Piccolos of Blombot. Yeah, I thought that like just the combination of everything was just, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull mine down carefully.
Carefully, be very careful.
There's a couple pages, couple panels where I was just very, I don't know, captivated by the artwork, and I think I'll just do the big one because I like showed this to Kate, and she was like, "That's an amazing drawing." Yeah, this big old splash page. Like, I looked at this for like probably 15 minutes. Like, like not just like, I mean, I'd flip back like through the page, but then I'd flip through the comic, but I would go back and like look at it, and it's just all of it is just so detailed. The color scheme is perfect. When it goes in the past, it still like has this green tone to it, but you know it's in the past, and you're getting little bits of his the trauma. We're getting bits of the trauma that is being led up to in like the past story, but then we're also just getting the same thing in the present with him coming in the presence of the spring god or whatever it was.
Yeah, like so I guess how we could say this is that the seasons are like personified as big monsters. So that monster that Matt just showed, if you were watching the video version, that's the spring, again, either like monster. It represents the season. So they will talk about like, you know, springs come. So it's interesting because one of the first things, like how the book opens is, I'll just see if I can read it. Spring is on its way. Spring is on its way, so they board up their windows, wrestle screaming children into their car seats, and flee before it. Yeah, and then I think it says somewhere that spring hasn't been there for like a couple of years. For the scent of green things for the first time in half a decade. So it seems like how the seasons are personified, or just like whatever comes through your town in the last time, something like that. I would guess.
Yeah, well, it seems like people move to a different town based on the season. Like everything gets boarded up, and like that's how the intro was. It's just like everybody was leaving town, but our main character here, I don't know, I didn't write down his name. Dan Waters. No, Dan Waters is who wrote it.
Yes, I'm gonna say it's an autobiography. Maybe we don't know what
Oh,
he's into.
Andrew,
Andrew.
a retired conflict photographer. And like, okay, so like in the past, like when it's showing those green panels, he's talking about wanting to become a wartime photographer because he wants to capture the images that show people how like awful it is. And he was like reading poetry with his wife, or it was probably his girlfriend at the time. Yeah. And so he had this new dream and aspiration, and so this is part of his past that we get, and we know that it's leading up to some trauma because we know his wife is no longer with him, and so he's having these memories, but now he's kind of in this doesn't care state, I guess. That might be a little eccentric to say, but like,
no, it
he
definitely
doesn't.
seems it.
Yeah, but he's still coping with this tragedy, I guess. And so he doesn't have much to lose. And so he stays behind to take photos of the gods as they roll into town.
Yeah.
And like his editor or whatever, the person that hires him to be in papers and whatnot, is like trying to talk him out of it a little bit, or just like checking in on him, like, what are you doing? Like, no, you should get out of there. So
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. I'm excited for this series. I love a good boom story, and this just seems like as you said, it's very boomy.
I feel like I something in me tells me that this is probably 4 issues. I don't know that, but at the end of this issue, the editor was like, "Hey, if you want to go and on the summer case, we have some people like there's some sort of connect there." So I would imagine that this isn't going to be a comic where, again, it's very boomy, and it's reminding me a little bit of Specs, where it's like it's not so much about the thing that entices you into the comic. It's about the experience of the people who are dealing with it, you know?
Yeah. No, like you very much live through the eyes of the protagonists.
Yeah. So I don't like in issue number 4, like however at the climax of this comic, I don't imagine like Andrew just standing on a mountain punching one of the gods. You know, like that's not how this is gonna go. It's just gonna be him like watching Winter like go off into the distance and be like, I love you, my wife.
He has some rite of passage in his old age that he still is like approaching, and you can tell it's going to be a great story. The cover, I'm looking at it, it does say it's going to be 4 issues. The covers for issues 2, 3, and 4.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, man. Give me a 4 issue from Boom about the seasons and about dealing with the trauma of growing old and losing loves. Heck yeah. Wreck me, baby.
On board. Wreck me, baby.
Wow. There we go. That's a new saying. But hey buddy, do you got any that I guess I should have called you pal. Hey pal. Right. Do you got any comics you want to chit chat about?
Well, before I get into that, I just wanted to say issue 2 comes out May 17th. At least that's what Secret Source says.
Secret Sauce.
But it seems accurate with Boom. Yeah, I do. I should probably talk about the one I have in the title first. The Bones of the Gods, issue 3. So this is my Scout Comics, my most recent Scout Comics Sunday read. I've really been enjoying this series. The art is a little too cartoony for me. I don't hate it, but it's just like the two teams that are battling are red and blue. Like it's very distinguished. And so like color is not used in a way that I would like. It's not used in detail. It's just it's used in just identifying different things. and it's not bad by any means, but it's not what we're getting out of the seasons have teeth.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
So it's very colorful in that, but it does kind of remind me of like reading a Saturday morning cartoon, like from the 90s.
Yeah.
But the story is very, very solid. I'm really enjoying it. So like if you're into like sci-fi, like or more like sci-fi fantasy stuff, like this is a really solid story. The premise is that long ago, two gods met in battle as their like followers on Earth were battling, and this big battle finally happened. Uh, the two gods overcame each other and destroyed each other, and their bones were scattered across the earth. And anybody who finds a bone and touches it, like, gets some like godlike power. And the I guess the protagonist, her name is eluding me because I took horrible notes this week.
That's
but
okay.
she it kind of starts off with her kind of like being the rebellious teenager against her dad. Like her dad needs her on the farm, like plowing the fields and stuff like that, but she wants to go like hang out with her friends. And 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 so she has like kind of this push and pull struggle with her dad. But by the end of issue 1, her dad has died. He's killed by the person who's actually on the cover of this latest issue. I'm not going to pull it down, but it's right here. You can check the internets.
Yeah, you're already on it.
Yeah. And but right before that happened, because this wizard guy was actually coming to their field because he has some kind of tracker or sense to find the fragments of bone that are scattered. And the dad was, I think, protecting it, but while the daughter was out plowing the field, she plowed it up and she touched it and she absorbed some power. And apparently it's a very powerful one, because she like snapped this wizard guy out pretty quick, and then like ran to town to like tell her friends like something big's happened, like I'm dealing with a lot. And issue 3 is now about them like they've realized their situation and that they need to leave town. And so this issue was them getting out of town, and they're in like the dark woods, which is the place you don't want to be at night. And
Doesn't sound like it.
they have this weird other like witch lady with her, that they don't really know, and she's trying to convince like the older witch lady is trying to convince the protagonist that, why did I just go to full screen? I'll keep going. I don't know what happened to Monk, everybody. But yeah, this series has been really good. Where'd you go?
I went to move my mouse and accidentally clicked back. Sorry about that.
You put me on blast. I didn't like it.
I'm like, it's time to be alone.
Could you still hear me?
No, I lost you.
Okay. But yeah, so like this new character has been introduced that she's trying to convince the protagonist girl that like she's there to help. But she doesn't, like, the protagonist doesn't believe it. And so there's that struggle, but then the wizard guy shows back up and there's like another epic battle, and then the girl like kind of does her powers again. And I don't know, it's just it's a really solid story. I'm really enjoying it, and it's Scout Comics, and we love Scout.
We do love Scout. God, I love me some Scout. It's always a bummer when I get to my store and I just don't have anything on my shelf from Scout. And I'm like, man, because I've always enjoyed it, you know. Aftershock was that for me for a little bit, but then kind of fell off. But you know, I feel like Scout is definitely like on that like cusp of being like a kind of more known indie. It's kind of rising up out of that, and I'd love to help give it some little pushes, you know.
Yeah.
What we can do here on the internet.
But yeah, so Bones of the Gods, written by Brendan Deneen. I think I'm saying his name right. And the artist is Mauricio Mello. And I want to kind of touch back on like what I was saying about the art. The lines are really good. But just the colors are very like straightforward. And I'd like to see the colors with how the lines are drawn using a little bit more detail out of this. But it's not like distracting. But
sure.
It's just
sure, it's something that you notice.
It's noticeable.
Right.
But yeah, So kudos to those guys. I'm really enjoying their story. So
Nice, good job. So
what do you got?
Man, I have so many comics. I'm looking here and I have like 8 that I want to talk about, but I don't really have like any that I want to talk about like in great length. So I'll probably talk about a few. How many more do you feel like you have to chat about?
I got a couple that I can just throw out because I've gotten my hands on a few things.
Sure.
We'll
just do like, I mean, I don't really have much to say, so we got like 15 minutes left, so we'll just kind of like, I mean, we got more time. We got all the time in the world, baby.
All of it. All of Wednesday
So
night.
we'll do like just a long, because it's been a couple weeks since so we'll just kind of do a quick rapid fire shout out section or a highlight. What do we call this section?
Yeah,
whatever
that's
it is.
great.
The first of which I want to mention is 7 Years in Darkness, and this is also from a pretty unknown, at least to me, CEX Studios, I guess. What that would it was what it would be. Really like the premise of this. Are you familiar with this at all?
No.
So the idea is that there's this wizarding school for black magic. So it's like a dark, spooky school. And so there's
Wow.
there's what was the wow about?
There's so many covers for this issue, and
Oh, really?
they're all fantastic.
Yeah, the art is definitely a lot of fun. Okay, so the premise is that there is this school, and whenever there's a class for it, it has 72 students, and they're all from a certain family, like bloodline.
Like Hogwarts and Gryffindor, or like this is like their bloodline.
Bloodline, like their family. So they go in and like represent them, and every one of them has to wear like a necklace, and the necklace is connected to a spirit. And so if they take off the necklace, the spirit essentially tries to leave their body and it causes them to die. So the whole premise of it is that 72 kids enter into the school. So the school is 7 years. So that's why it's called 7 Years in Darkness. The school is in like a mountainside. So it's once you enter into the school, you can't leave. So this class goes in, and the only ones that can leave are the 7 wizards that's going to graduate from the class. And they kind of become like the wizards of the world. They kind of sustain like the black magic. Does that make sense?
It does. I just read the pub sum on that, and
was it pretty much just what I said? Something like that?
Something along those lines. The
Yeah.
school's called Academy of Black Magic.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's pretty good. Andy says, same guy writes and draws it. Never heard of a company either. Which is, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I didn't know that. The writer and the artist, yeah, Joseph Schmecklick, something like that. I'm sorry about that. Sean French, letterer Joel Rodriguez. And I'll definitely say that the lettering does fantastic in this. The art is a lot of fun. It's definitely interesting. I enjoyed it enough to mention it first out of a bunch of comics that I have to read. But yeah, I'm always a fan of little indie guys and horror spooky stuff. And schools, nah, I don't like schools, but I'll keep rolling with that. And something I'll just do one more and then I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah,
but something that's kind of in a similar vein to that is Worldtree. And it's not really in a similar vein. It's just kind of spooky psychological horror.
I like that.
And Andy said, I believe the inside art was all black, white, and red too. Yeah, and there's like shades of brown and blue. I think there's like towards the end, there's like some skies and stuff, because they do say like, like say goodbye to the sun because you're not going to see it for 7 years. So yeah, it was interesting. But this was also pretty interesting. It's like I only read it once, so maybe I'm a little off, but it's kind of like this weird techno. It's like The Ring meets the internet. Like there's some video that out there that kind of like when you watch it, you get possessed by it, or it's maybe not even a video, but a file or something like that. And there's this like weird shamaness or like witch woman who's like connected to it in some way. And yeah, there's a journalist that's kind of he's following this because it's starting to come up on places. I think, or I might be thinking about something else. But anyways, Worldtree, I enjoyed it. I'll probably pick up issue number 2, and if I don't understand it, I'll go back and read issue number 1. But
yeah, I'm waiting on my issue to arrive. I ordered it from our acquaintance Frank over at Coffee and a Comic, and then the day that I ordered it, he notified me that the issues that he had originally received, there was like a bunch of errors or something found in it, so they had to send all those ones back and wait for a reorder.
oh geez,
So I've been
that's a bummer.
waiting for that, but I also ordered a couple other things that I'm fairly excited about, but I'm gonna hold off on those until they arrive.
Keep that a secret.
Yeah.
But what else did you get into?
Oh man, I guess I kind of wanted to talk about. I've been trying to collect Marvel #1s, just to see if I want to get into any of those stories. And the top contender right now, and I'm not sure if I'll continue with it. I might just wait until I can read it all on Unlimited. But Guardians of the Galaxy #1 that came out, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Maybe,
the cowboy one.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I wasn't sure I was going to feel about it being like a Western vibe, but I don't know. I feel like they nailed it. And there's just a lot going on just in the family of the Guardians of the Galaxy that we don't know about yet, because I think the first lines said by a non-Guardian was like, haven't you heard that Star-Lord is risen? And like, that's right when Star-Lord like rides into town, but the kid says that to Star-Lord.
Interesting.
And so it's just like something happened, and they keep referring to the fall.
Yeah.
But it has an apostrophe before fall. So there's something there. And then the reveal of it's towards the end. And it was pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice.
I really enjoyed it. I may pick up issue 2. I'm not gonna ask my shop for it, but if they'll probably have one, I may pick it up if it's within the budget for the week. But yeah, I read that. And then another thing I've gotten into, I've only read the first, I guess, 2 issues of 2 different series, but you've been seeing some posts lately. Some friends of mine dropped a bunch of comics in my lap to ask if I wanted to keep any of them or help them sell some of them. And something is in there is the original 1988 Wolverine run. I think it's issues like 1 through 17 they had in this box, and
That's
then
awesome.
and then like the Marvel Comics Presents issues 1 through like 14 or 15, or maybe, but like they're all pertain to the first story arc of like Wolverine in Madripoor, which Madripoor is featured in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And so like, and when we talked with Eric and Ben last week, we talked about just like things we like to go back to. And I talked about like that bronze, like modern age transition, because like that's the stuff that was coming out when I was like a kid, like before I could really go to the comic shop and buy stuff. And so I've kind of gotten my hands on some of these, so I've been reading through them. And Wolverine #1 was just excellent, like everything that I would like hope it to be, as something that I had never read from that age before. And I really like where it's like setting it up as the introduction of Wolverine's black suit. It's the introduction as well to then the other one, Marvel Comics Presents #1. That's like the introduction to the Princess Bar in Madripoor, that's what was featured in the show. But yeah, it's just like cool to like be able to read these things physically instead of just on the app. And the paper, you talked about like the newspaper feel of that one comic you picked up.
Like
that's how all these ones are. And
that's
it's really
awesome.
It's really fun looking through like the old ads that were in there. Like one of them had like
the intranet.
Like if you can have 7 proofs of purchases, you can get this M&M's hat and t-shirt, which would sell at like a vintage shop for a good penny at this point. And so it's just like, it's really cool to have those in my hands and be able to go through them.
That's like, it's like history,
Yeah.
So especially with a classic character like that. So I have 4 comics left. I'm going to go at them in the order that I enjoyed them the most. to, I won't say the least, but the least. So the one, honestly, I don't want to say that this was my banger of the week, because this like series has just been consecutively like a banger, but like I really really enjoyed this comic. Harrower. I wish the name was different because I feel like a right fool every time I say it.
Am I
But
saying this right?
am I saying this? I kind of don't know. There's so many R's. But yeah, this series has just been like enjoyable. Like this is kind of giving me that like bombastic, nonstop, in your face feel that Chicken Devil kind of had. Not as,
Yeah.
it's a little bit grimy, but it still feels very, I'm just holding it. I don't know if like for those of you who are watching, I'm just like, I love this comic. But like genuinely, like this is such a good comic. I'd be very surprised if this doesn't end up on like my top 5 or top whatever, because it's just, and I know Kyle doesn't like it, and I keep wanting to throw shade at him whenever I post about it, and just be like, Kyle's wrong, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But he has great opinions on comics, and everyone's allowed to have their own taste. But for me, man, this has just been one heck of a good read. I think the art has been like a huge part of it as well for me, because I do love that cartooniness of like just the cartoony violence, but it's not like played for laughs. It's just the world that they live in just happens to be a violent one, you know?
Kind of reminds me of like Johnny Quest, the art.
Yeah. It's very like an old
little
like
like
Cartoon Network.
but like kind of updated a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
which I'm like, I think that's probably doing like, that's really selling it for me, is just the art is a lot of fun. There's like the dialogue for me is perfect because I don't think about it being too much or too little. I'm just like rolling with it. Like every couple pages, like you kind of get the adrenaline going. It's, yeah, really good read. And also now I wish I wouldn't have set myself on the task of counting backwards with these comics, because I'm kind of tied now. But I know what I'm going to say it. I'm going to say that I enjoyed the Ewoks third to last.
I still haven't read that one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's super adorable, and there's almost no dialogue in this at all. It's all just, which I'm happy that they did. I'm happy that they didn't do like, a translate from Ewokese or whatever they speak, because I don't need to know how they speak. Like this.
Well, now that was part of like what captured you at the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, is like you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
But you can try and figure out what they're trying to communicate.
C-3PO does, and he tells one heck of a story. So much so that he thinks, oh no, they raise him up. They think he's a god because he floats. Yeah, not because of his fantastic storytelling. But maybe that's why they thought Jesus was a god, but he also floated. Wow. Good.
That's
good
what the
on us.
Ewoks do to C-3PO. Yeah.
Wow. Good job. Revenge. I watched the Clone Wars this weekend, or not the Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, for some reason. I was like, I felt like being in a Star Wars world, so I watched.
In hindsight, like,
oh no, I shouldn't have.
You shouldn't have
Star Wars thing. In
hindsight, like, the prequel series keeps getting better and better to me. But it's also, and like,
I think that's like because of the retrospective stuff around it. Would that be a better argument?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like, Revenge of the Sith has always been like one of my top 3.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as that one came out, like I think it originally
top 3.
Yeah,
Star Wars films.
Yeah. Well, like when they came out.
Oh, when they came out. That's fair.
When they came out.
Yeah.
So once the prequel trilogy, and we didn't have the Disney stuff yet, like Revenge of the Sith was amazing to me. Like I loved it. But I also gave into so much of like the hearsay about what people didn't really critique about the movie, but more just like, oh, I hated it because Jar Jar Binks in episode 1.
I think it was kind of damned by that point.
And it was just, there was a lot of nitpickiness around them, I guess, is what I'm saying.
That was probably the birth of what became like internet, the gross part of the internet,
Yeah.
But I agree. I feel like those are a little bit more fun. I will say that I watched it with a commentary on top of it from a podcast that I listened to.
Oh, nice.
And that's especially with if you go back and listening to the Phantom Menace is the same as smacking your teeth off of cement. Like it's just the most unpleasant experience. But just like watching it visually, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. There's people moving around. I don't have to listen to that fish man talk. That looks like it would be a nightmare. Yeah, speaking of fish man, here's Mosley issue number 3. He's got his hammer and he's in the ocean. He's fighting the water god. And this is moving pretty fast paced too. I'm enjoying this. This is like just a nice little palate cleanser. Like I don't ever think that this is going to be bad. You know, sometimes when I'm reading comics, I like to like try to take risk and like try to read something new or outside of what I would normally read. But like Mosley just kind of sits there as like this thing that I can just go back to and just be like, yeah, this will be good. You know, like it's not going to like revolutionize comics for me, but it'll definitely be like something that I enjoy through probably the whole way. You know,
well, I know our pals over at the Lair are really enjoying that too. So
yeah. I mean, it's probably better than I'm giving it credit at the moment, but I also, I'll probably talk about it more when it wraps up because it feels like there's not a whole lot to be said. It progresses very rapidly, but there's not a lot happening. There's just like the big things are happening. Like there's 3 big like technological gods, and he's already taken down 2 of them. One's left. Again, this isn't it's not really so much about that. He's still trying to figure out who gave him the hammer, why. He's trying to get back with his ex-wife. So there is a lot of stuff happening, but none of it feels like it's progressing very rapidly. But it doesn't have the little monstersness where you're just like, did anything happen in this issue? But I got to stop picking on little monsters. I haven't read it for a very long time. But what I had, that was I feel like that had some subtext to it of, stop picking on it.
Yeah, it did. Those are like my thought words exactly.
See, I know.
You hopped off that train. You haven't experienced it.
That's true. I can't criticize a train that I didn't ride all the way off its long, boring ending. I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's great. I'm just making a joke. Enjoy whatever comics you're going to read.
Take it back.
It's the best. Maybe I would. I'm not going to talk about this. But I'm going to talk about is the Gimmick number 2. Yeah, it was good, man. Like, it's just a fun comic. I'm sure, Andy, if you're still listening, I would love to hear what you have to say about this. But it's this one again, like it just kind of built up a little bit more of the world around it. He's still in hiding. He meets the daughter of somebody who's connected to his past life, this wrestler, and then we kind of see his wife or his ex-wife and his baby. I don't think he knows that the baby exists. So that's going to be a shocker for him at some point. But it's just been fun. It does have like do a powerbomb vibes, and that's probably just because it's about wrestling, but it feels like it has the same heart to it. I feel like just a fun wrestling story about wrestling and having a fun time, you know. I noticed you have one more on here. What's Stoneheart number 2?
So Stoneheart number 1 came out about a month ago.
That's good.
It kind of shares some of this like similar vibes with Bones of the Gods, in that it's like this daughter with powers, but this wasn't powers that she got from touching a bone of a god. These are powers that like she had just because of the person she was born to be. But she doesn't have any memory of her past. She was exiled like from her people. Well, maybe exile might be a strong, but she was sent away, we'll say.
She was like, hey, it's best if you get out of town for a little bit. Just get out of here.
But she doesn't. Yeah, but she's not like, she doesn't recall everything from her past, but like whenever she gets angry, her powers, kind of like the Hulk, show. And so she doesn't know what's like happening with her in this issue. Like her mentor has gone missing, and somebody shows up at her door saying like, oh yeah, your mentor sent me to come be your new mentor until he gets back or whatever. Sorry, I got distracted by what Andy said. Yeah, go ahead and pull it up.
Oh, okay. Just Andy said about the Gimmick #2 is a real fast read, but I really liked it. The daughter of the guy he killed has a cool plot line going. I agree. I don't think he knows about the son either, and I agree with you affirming my statement.
Cool.
We did it.
But yeah, like the being an issue 2, like issue 1 was great. Issue 2 is still building off of issue 1. I really enjoyed it. This is all being done by Emma
Watson.
Kubert.
Ah.
Yeah, and so she's doing the whole thing. She wrote it. She's doing the art. She's doing the colors. She's lettering
That's
it.
so cool.
And I really enjoy it. She's doing a fantastic job. Again, it's in like the sci-fi fantasy world. I can't remember what like play on time it has, but yeah, it's just I've been enjoying it. I'm excited for issue 3, and the only other person I know that's reading it is nobody. So
Oh, I hit my mic. I was laughing that hard.
So
Wow.
I'm curious if anybody else has picked it up and read it, because I'd like to hear some thoughts from other people, like, and not just read reviews of people online.
Friends. That's
Friends. Help
anybody
me.
Help anybody out there?
Hello?
Does anybody want to? I feel like I just picture you like holding a sign like "Will chat Stoneheart #2 with anybody for free."
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Well, hey,
no,
before
but yeah, Emma's put together a nice piece of work, and I think people should check it out.
awesome. Yeah, I love like that whole like one artist doing a whole thing like similar to everything. Everything sucks. Real gamers hours. Same with
Yeah.
Grant State and Granite Mabe Punk. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just a lot of cool comics doing that.
Yeah, my latest one was Kit Wallace's Mr. Easta.
Okay, yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. That was a fun series. I didn't really like the ending so much because it left too many questions, but
maybe they'll come back to it.
Maybe I'll come back to it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got something cool lined up that it's gonna be kicking off.
So
soon.
cool.
So cool.
It's like double cool.
It's like double cool. If you went to if you were at a store that sold adverbs, is that the right? What's the word that I'm looking for? Descriptive words, like cool. Like if you were
adjectives.
Adjectives. Thanks you. I went to school. I wrote a book of poetry. If you went to a store that sold those, you'd be like, "Can I get 2 of the cool, please? Because this is what this is."
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that joke wasn't worth how long it took to tell it.
No, it landed.
We're gonna do a little bit of a giveaway. We have Batman, the Chip Zdarsky run that you're looking at right here in my hands. If you're watching it,
it's Zdarsky's like intro arc,
right?
Yeah,
because he's still on it, I believe.
Yeah,
but this is number 125 through 130, and we're just gonna do one of those classic Instagram giveaways. So what are we gonna? We're gonna post a post tomorrow, and you have to like it, tag somebody in it, and follow the page. That'll be said more clearly in that post. But if you're watching this now, I just wanted to give you a heads up that was happening, so you could get over there and get yourself some Batman comics. We'll ship those on out to you. I will bag and board all of them, and I will sign them, all of them. I'm not going to do that.
And this was a great run. Like, it brought me back to Batman. But
back to Batman.
Back to Batman. So I've been enjoying Zdarsky's run. I had some feelings about like the last issue of his, because like it's a different story now. But yeah, I've still been enjoying it because Zdarsky is just a great storyteller, and I'm really starting to like, I don't know, understand him a bit more, I guess. So
you should read his Daredevil run. You would love that.
Yeah, that's actually up next on my Daredevil reads. I'm trying to get through the first arc after Kevin Smith, because he did the first 8 issues of like volume 2, and so I'm trying to get through the arc where Echo is introduced.
Gotcha. TV show, I bet, doesn't happen.
Yeah, but then after that, I'm going into Zdarsky.
Nice, that's a good call. All right, well, yeah, I mean that'll be up. We didn't really set a time for how long that'll be, but
I would say by Monday of next week.
Maybe should we do the winner live on the podcast? We'll talk about this off mic, but we'll let you know that that's happening. We'll
It'll be
figure
in
out
it'll be in the details of the post.
yeah, so just keep an eye out for that. It's currently Wednesday as this is being recorded, but it's going live on Thursday. That's tomorrow for us, and maybe present for you or in the past, depending on when you're listening to this. Maybe you're in a trillion years from now, and you're like, I don't know how that happened. That was way too far into the future. A trillion? The
A
sun
little bit.
exploded. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
we're
a
all
little too
long
far.
gone. Well, hey, buddies, do you want to ride this horse into the sun exploding? I guess I could have just said into the sun. That kind of
I do.
Cowboys
And
right off the horizon.
And as I turn back and look at the fellow people that I'm leaving behind on this episode, I have to say you can find us on all the socials. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just please like and subscribe and comments. And we love talking with people about comics. Again, talk to me about Stoneheart. Anybody that's reading it, just message me. Please. But yeah, that's where you can find us, and that's where you can talk to us.
Awesome. It's so good to be back, even though we didn't go anywhere. Wow. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I haven't read comics like these in years.